Hello and welcome to Glasgow Doors Open Day's Digital Festival. This event will begin soon, but first we have a brief housekeeping message. So that you can get the most out of this session, we'd like to point out a few features of Zoom. By clicking on the buttons at the bottom of the Zoom window, you will be able to access the chat room, and if you are in a webinar, you will also be able to make use of the Q&A function. The Q&A function is so that you can ask specific questions of the speaker, which they will be able to answer time allowing at the end of the session. Use the chat room to contribute more generally to the discussion or to share links and resources. When using these features, please mind your P's and Q's. Both will be monitored and recorded. Most sessions will be recorded and uploaded to Glasgow Doors Open Days Festival YouTube channel and website. If you're in a meeting, please make sure you keep your microphone on mute unless otherwise directed by the host. If for some reason the session ends unexpectedly or you lose connection, please just click the link again and wait to be let back in. Similarly, if the host loses connection, please bear with us. We will do our best to manage any connection issues as and when they occur, and may contact you by email if necessary. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'd love to hear about your experience of our digital festival. Fill in our survey to be in with a chance of winning a £100 voucher for a Glasgow local business of your choice. Our survey is available at www.glasgowdoorsopendays.org.uk/survey. Thanks to our supporters, the Arlington Bass Club, Glasgow City Council and the many more, which you can find out about on the partners page of our website. We hope you enjoy this event. Hello everyone, welcome to day 3 of Glasgow Doors Open Days Festival 2021. My name is Stephen Sheriff, I'm the festival coordinator. We'll be getting underway very shortly. We have a digital programme from Monday through Friday, and then we are very excited to be getting back into buildings at the weekend. If you are planning to visit at the weekend, yeah, you will see that quite a lot of events are sold out. However, there is an extensive programme of buildings that you can get into with no booking at all. So have a look at the website for more details. I'm now very pleased to introduce Agnes Corrick from the Alliance Française, and she will introduce the event. Thank you, Agnes.
Hi, welcome to everyone. Bonsoir. Thank you very much, Stephen, and thank you, the Glasgow Doors Open Days Festival. We are very happy to be part of it this year, very excited. So I'm Agnès, I'm working as a program coordinator at the Alliance Française Glasgow, and I'm very happy to welcome you all tonight for this special online talk event, and thanks to everyone who is joining us tonight. So with the forthcoming COP26, we think sustainability is essential. It has many implications from pollution and energy consumption to building materials, architectural design and recycling. Tonight, we will have a special online discussion with French nationals about circular economy and sustainable practices in Scotland. We have the pleasure to welcome tonight Julie Bonfait, Marie Vendrome. Thank you very much for being with us. And I'm very happy to welcome to Sarah Lacha, who will be the facilitator tonight. So thank you all for the participation. So a few words to introduce our speakers. So Julie, welcome. Julie, you are a consultant in Ricardo Energy and Environment, Circular Economy and Sustainability team. You have 5 years of experience in the financial services industry, and additionally, you hold 3 years experience within the environment field, developing your knowledge in biodiversity and renewable energy. And working for Ricardo, you support businesses with the development of circular economy services and products, as well as providing sustainability policy and strategy support to various public and private sector clients. So I'm really looking forward to hearing more about that. Marie, welcome. So you're a student at the Uni of Glasgow. You've been in Glasgow for many years now, and you are now the new biodiversity promoter at GUEST, the Glasgow University Environmental Sustainability Team, which is a team of highly motivated professional students employed by the university to work on improving the environment practice at the university. And Sarah, mediator, so you are the mom of French Kilt, the blog created in 2015. You are a copywriter, you write different guidebooks, you run the podcast Écos Toujours with Assa Samake Roman. You are now a tourist guide as well, and you explain how to local action and sustainable practice can help and support tourism in Scotland. So very looking forward to hearing more about that too. So I will thank you again, all of you, to joining us tonight. I will ask just please to respect all speakers. At the end of the conversation, we'll have a Q&A. Therefore, please post your question in French, in English, in the Q&A chat window. So I'm curious now to hear more about sustainable practices and ideas from our guests tonight. So I will hand over to you, Sarah, now. Merci à tous. Thank you.
Merci, Agnès, and hello, everybody. I'm very, very happy to be with you this evening. We have such an amazing choice of guests tonight, and they have a lot to teach us about sustainability in Scotland. So yeah, today we thought that we could discuss along three main axes. First of all, probably housing and energy use in a house for a start, or in a company, of course, because it is one of the first aspects of living in Scotland. So is it sustainable? How can we make things better? And also, where is the energy coming from, which is a big question here. Secondly, we'd like to speak about the daily challenges, how in our daily life we manage recycling, we manage waste, use of facilities, which is also quite interesting. Whenever we go shopping, eating, when we interact with a business, for example. And on the third axis, we'd like to speak about movement and travel, because all of us here, we like to move around Scotland and the rest of the world, of course. Is this sustainable, and how can we own it better and make it better for the country? I'm not going to be too long. I'm really eager to start the conversation with Julie and Marie tonight. I just want to keep it clear for everybody that you can use the chat on the side. Just if you click on discussion or chat on the menu, then you can pop us a wee message. So say hi to everybody. You can have like discussions in between you two as well. And when you do so, just make sure that you choose send to everybody and not just send to the host or the panelist. It's just a little tweak when you write your message. Well, I hope everybody's comfy, that you have a little drink, that you had a good day, that everybody was nice to you today. We will be very nice to you today, I can assure you so. So, yes, so first, I think one of the main aspects that we discuss in Scotland is energy. One of the main use of energy is heating. So this is why we decided to speak about housing first. So you might have heard that almost 100% of the electricity made in Scotland is from renewable sources, which is great. However, only a tiny part of houses and flats are heated through electricity. We mainly use gas or fuel. So I think, yeah, my first question would be maybe towards Julie, if you want to start by telling you maybe what you do, and also how are you helping every day some businesses to face those questions in a better way?
Hi, thank you, Sarah, for your question. So I'm Julie, I'm a consultant in circular economy and sustainability. I support businesses developing circular economy projects and embedding principles and also sustainability. So maybe the first thing to do is to start to explain what is circular economy. So I'm going to read something like my main source of information is the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. So this is like the main place you can find information, same as you're going to find some things around Zero Waste Scotland, but I always go back to Ellen MacArthur Foundation. So I'm just going to read what is on their website. So they explain that the current system is no longer working for businesses, people, and the environment. As we know, climate change, our planet is facing a lot of challenges, and we currently take resources from ground to make products which we use, and then when we no longer want them, we throw them away. So we take, make, and waste. So this is what we call the linear economy. And circular economy, so it is the way that you kind of start to close the loop. So instead of having this linear economy, you have a circular economy. And the principles, according to Ellen MacArthur Foundation, is to first design out waste and pollution. So it's at the very beginning of everything that you do as a business or even as a person. Try to always think about the upstream and designing out waste and pollution. Then you try to keep products and materials in use by applying models such as like share, reuse, recycle. I'm going to come back to this, but yes, just try to keep things in a loop, and then to regenerate natural systems. So this is very important, regenerate, is to make sure that like food and everything that can go back to the planet stays to the planet. So just to explain what circular economy is. And so this is why you just come back, because you can always reuse the material that we take are going to come back to the planet, and you can then reuse them or come back to the business so they can reuse them to make a new product. So for your question about energy and the challenges that businesses are facing now, there are a lot, and we've done a lot already in terms of sustainability. And as you said, renewable energy, that's amazing what we are doing, but it's not enough. Ellen MacArthur Foundation found that 55% of the carbon emission today, greenhouse gas emissions, are from transport and energy. So 45% is the product that we make, we use, and we dispose of. So actually, even if we can manage to have like 100% renewables and even have in the house and businesses, it's not enough. So the challenge is to kind of understand how to overcome this. So as you said, there is this issue like heating. We cannot, like, electricity is very expensive. Air source heat pump is not maybe the best option for Scotland because of the weather. So it's a big challenge. So you've got those options about biogas and compost and create biogas. But at the moment, it's very expensive because infrastructure doesn't exist or not well spread yet. So I really tried myself as an individual to warm my house and use renewable energies for my house. So electricity, fair enough, very easy. There is a lot of providers like Octopus, for example, which is mine. And then when it comes to gas, I honestly tried to look for a provider which would provide biogas. The cost is crazy. I think it would have it's like three times more expensive than the natural gas or even electricity if I would use electricity to warm my house. So it is a big problem, and I know the same problem in France. We have the same problem in France. And with the new build house, they try to find a way to have like district heating and to have those massive heat generators to kind of heat the district. But it's not a thing in the UK too much. It's happening in France, and it's happening, but it requires like a planning, which is not always the case when you build houses. So energy is a big problem, and I don't think there is an answer just now about how, as individual, we can decarbonize our heating. And I just like to keep looking, because I did my research like a year ago. Maybe it has changed already, because sustainability and especially circular economy is a very fast moving thing. Like 10 years ago, it didn't exist, and now everybody's talking about it. I just attended a conference, the World Circular Economy Forum, and like in Chile, in Uruguay, in Costa Rica, in like countries you never thought about would kind of have this kind of thought about like circular economy and everything. They're all at the forefront, including governments. I've seen some ministers and from all over the country, all over the world, talking about circular economy. So I'm sure something is going to come. Infrastructures are going to develop, but is to understand that it's very difficult, but things are happening, and you just to always have eyes open and look for opportunities.
True, yes. And actually, I'm just thinking that in Glasgow, there is a venue that just announced that they're going to use the body heat of people dancing to heat the venue and have energy for the venue. It's
Exactly.
it's SGW3. So I don't know if yet we can have big parties in this place, but I think it would be a good one to attend to when it starts again. And
Yes.
thank you very much, Julie. Marie, on your side, how is it going at university? Do you feel like Glasgow University is doing enough to monitor the energy use? And are you warm enough in the halls at uni?
Hi. So yeah, I think the university has been pretty engaged to reduce the footprint. I think they're actually been like the first university to fully disinvest from fossil fuels. So yeah, but as students, we're not really aware of what's happening. But in terms of student halls, I think compared to like the accommodation in Glasgow, student halls are more kind of modern buildings. So they built so that like the energy is safe and it's actually warmer. But I'm now living in an accommodation in one of those old Glaswegian building, and it's very hard actually to warm up with high ceiling and bad window. So I think it's a real problem in Glasgow. And so yeah, the student accommodation, I think we're pretty good on that. And yeah.
It's a general issue because there's not so much help for house owners to change their windows and go for double glazed windows, as a simple example. In other countries, you would have like subventions, like money from the state to change that. And I suppose in Glasgow, like anywhere else in Scotland, it is complicated. But can you tell us more about your daily life on the campus? What is done to make students' lives easier on this matter?
Not much. Actually, the life on campus has been very reduced to COVID, as we had like a very online year. So we just returned to campus now, and honestly, not a lot is done for students for their daily life in Glasgow. So that's also our role as guests. Our role is like to promote and to encourage people to make some small changing in their daily life.
Yeah, like what,
So
for
like,
example? If you have an example to share, feel free.
Yeah, for example, we wrote a green guides, which give opportunities to students to where can they like buy sustainable products, and like the local charity shop, the organic shop. Obviously, it's another challenge because a lot of students can't afford local and organic food. But yeah, it's also give them the opportunity and also raising awareness among students. Yes, I feel like we feel like we're like working on small scale maybe compared to Julie.
But that's just as important. Little changes in daily life.
More like yeah. And I feel like because the university is a teaching center, so we're like learning a lot, and so it's important like to include sustainability in our
That's really well done, Mary.
learning and our practices.
Sorry if I interrupt you there, because I think I have a little bit of a delay, but this is so interesting. Thank you so much for sharing your experience on that. That's a great link actually to jump to the second theme, daily life and how to act sustainably in Scotland when you live here. So I did my homeworks and I went to have a look at recycling figures for Scotland. There's maybe not like such like recent figures, but in 2018, 44.9, so 45% of the household waste was recycled. So it might sound like a lot, it might sound not like a lot. Just so you know, the goal for 2020 was 60%. So did we have a massive jump last year? I don't know. Just to compare, I checked for France too for like household waste, and we do recycle 68% of it in France, which sounds pretty much like a good news. I was actually surprised, I have to say. Not to blame Scotland at all, because Scotland is doing so much better in so many aspects, but I thought it would be nice to just point this out. So Julie, could you maybe tell us what we can do in our daily life to be a good kid regarding recycling and circular economy?
Yes, of course. Thank you for your question. So when I arrived in Scotland, I moved into like a shared house in Dumfries and Galloway, and there was zero recycling. So I was like, how can I put my paper, my plastic, and my can and my glass in the general bin? This is not possible. Like, I really had like a heart attack almost. So I kind of dig a bit, and especially now through my work with Ricardo and Environment, I had to kind of get some knowledge from my colleagues, which are like experts in waste management and so on. And actually, Scotland is struggling with recycling because every local authorities, it's very different. And for example, for collection, like here in a big city like Glasgow, it's very easy. You just like have those big vans, big lorries, and they just like collect all the bins and that's it. But when you live in an area which is more rural, with like even by car, when you have to go from, when I was buying my organic food and veggies, it was like a half an hour drive to get to the place where I could get like zero waste shop and everything. So if you have to collect the household waste for like a local authority, which is just big like as Dumfries and Galloway, the Highlands, the Highlands is just like 2 hours just to go from one way to another. It's just like, it's not possible. So I was really shocked at the beginning, but now that I've been working into this, I understand why it's such a challenge for Scotland. And so what I wanted to say when I said like recycling in circular economy is that actually recycling, it's good. We need it, but actually we needed it 10 years ago. So it's good that everything is in place now, hopefully, and that we understand recycling, we understand how it works, why it's important, but actually it should be the very least option to everything. So it's not even like the general bin should be the recycling. And this is because, again, I'm going to come back to circular economy and production and everything. So Zero Waste Scotland, again, as I mentioned, Ellen MacArthur Foundation, Zero Waste Scotland, very great source to get some ideas on how individuals and businesses can do for the environment and circular economy. So Zero Waste Scotland, they published a report, which is called the Scottish Material Flow Accounts, so in June this year. So it looks a bit like weird to understand, like it's really like technical language, but I'm just gonna give a few figures from their report. So the average Scot consumes 18.4 tons of material every year. So that's the equivalent of 50 kilograms per week on average. Scots consume 38% more materials than the global average and 44% more than the UK average. And only 21% of Scottish residents felt fully aware of the negative impact of our consumption of new products. So the problem is not that we recycle or not, and we are able to recycle, and what we recycle actually ends up recycled. It's because the overconsumption and also the fact that a lot of product that we buy, it's not our fault as consumers, but the products are not recyclable and we cannot do anything about it. So if, for example, clothes, it's not recyclable at all. And we buy clothes like, as everybody, I used to buy my clothes like a few times a year, get a new t-shirt, get a new trouser, and I didn't want this one. So just maybe at least pass it on. And now in the UK, you've got this amazing charities network, so you can pass it on. But at some point, the clothes, even if you can reuse, repair, mend, and pass it to someone else, share, it's always going to end up somewhere at the end. It's not going to be in the loop forever, and it's not recyclable. So the very beginning is not to try to recycle, is to try to reduce our consumption of products. And if we need to buy something, so first the question like, do I need this? Do I need this new trouser? Do I need this new mug? Do I need this new chair? Can I find it secondhand? On platforms such as Vinted? I buy a lot of my clothes on Vinted. I bought this in a charity shop. This is made from secondhand scarves and silk scarves. Like, you can find a lot of opportunities. You can do charity shop. And then if you really need it, then yes, buy it secondhand. And maybe you have it in your house and you just get tired of your t-shirt, just maybe upcycle it. You can reuse it for something else. I see like an old scarf you don't need anymore. You can make accessories out of it. So it's really about shifting from this, oh, I can recycle. No, you can't. Actually, it's not working, because everything that we think is recycled ends up being in another country. And I know that some African countries end up with like massive textile issues and waste issues. And I think it's Namibia they have textiles on the beaches because it's just like overflowing everywhere. And because we send our textile and we send our rubbish in other countries, and we should struggle with our waste actually. So this is really to shift from, and this is one of the main principles of circular economy, to shift from the recycling, so the end of life of the product, to the very beginning, like what do I do with what I have? And when I have to buy something, buy it consciously. Do I need it? Can I find it secondhand? And if not, if I'm going to buy new, can I recycle it in the end? Is it made of paper or is it made of PVC, which is not recyclable? If it's clothes, if it's organic cotton, or is it plastic, polyester, and that kind of thing. So it's really to think about the bigger picture. And we are not used to this at the moment, which is totally understandable. As consumer, we don't know all of this, but as consumer, we have the power to shift this and to take those decisions to say, like, just wait a second, what am I doing? And can I do this? Can I take this decision better?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's about owning your waste as well, like understanding that you are responsible for your waste from the moment you buy it. We buy our waste in the first place anyway. So it's about the conception of it. Like, it's not a dirty thing. It's just another thing that we decided to buy. And yeah, Mary, I was interested to hear about your own experience. Do you feel like students in Glasgow and anywhere else feel responsible for all the waste they produce in a daily life, buying food, going out and everything? And do you see it improving in Glasgow?
I don't feel like first year students are really aware of where all the product come from, and I think it's less like a kind of experience for a lot of them, so it's not their first priority. But I feel like, yeah, like we are doing a lot of work to promote places where they can actually reduce, like buy more free from packaging, plastic free. So I also, like, as the biodiversity promoter, I'm also in charge of gardens. So one of gardens is like a growing vegetable garden. So I'm trying to encourage students mostly to grow their experience with the earth and grow their own vegetables, so which is very nice.
What have you been growing? What have you been growing in your garden?
Like a lot of tomatoes, salads. We have a lot of apples, berries, and a lot of things. And tomorrow is actually like we're doing a big event there too, and we're gonna cook with all of what we've been.
That's amazing.
Growing and sowing. And yeah, we've also been developing a compost. So like I'm kind of encouraging people around me to take their food waste and the kitchen waste to the compost, because it's something that's been, I think Glasgow have been developing food waste bin, but because of COVID it has been like stopped, which is pity for me, I think. But yeah, so that's my local.
Thank you, Mary. I feel you. There is a lot to restart after seeing the heart of this pandemic, but we can only like restart it better than before. So it's also bringing loads of hope. And we had a really good question from Alex in the public. I think we can maybe try to answer it now, because it's about this theme right now. So she's asking, like, how can we find plastic-free alternative to what we buy? Is there eco-friendly supermarkets in Scotland? So, and to start with Glasgow, like, do you feel like you have enough plastic-free alternatives around you, Julie and Marie?
Yeah, we have some free plastic packaging opportunities. They're generally more expensive, but they're like also organic shop. We have like some in the west and south side as well, was the areas I know the more, but yeah, I don't know, Julie, if you have something to add.
As for everything, I've done some research. So looking for sustainable clothes and looking for zero waste shops. So around Glasgow, I found a few, as you said, like organic shops who also have like refill Like you can buy your nuts, you just bring your own packaging and so on. But actually, I don't live in Glasgow city centre. I live aside, and I haven't been in the city for a year and a half working from home. So I had to find an alternative because I couldn't find any shop which was like, I would say, less than 20 minutes away from home by car. I actually found this shop and I compared a few months ago, and I still believe they are the best I could find. It's called Peace with the Wild. They are based in England, so it's a bit far for a zero waste shop, but the packaging, when you buy something from them, it's sent by a post. So just come with the post anyway. So at least it's like combined with other parcels and mails and so on. And they have a really good offer about everything like beauty products, household goods, like for the kitchen, for the bathroom, like zero waste, like soap, toothpaste, cleaning products and so on. And they just launched, they opened a shop where they are based, a zero waste shop. And I'm super happy because they are now able to send food, so like dry food, also in the parcels. So I'm gonna, I just can't wait for my jars to be empty so I can order like some pasta and some dry like goods and rice and so on, and just order from them and see how it's going. But so far, I find them really, really good at providing, because it's really good because they have a lot of different options. So you don't even have to look at, oh, what brand should I buy from? Are they sustainable? Are they made in the UK? Are they plastic free? Are they packaging free? And so on. They do all the job already and provide a range of products. So I found them the best. They just don't do the work for me. They just done all the work, and I just pick whatever I need from them. And I would also recommend like the Instagram, the social media. They provide a lot of tips and things, and there's a lot out there. But so far, that's the only shop I could find that suits me.
And it's all about trust, really.
Exactly.
It's
yes.
important. And I'm gonna share a resource, but it's in French, and I apologize if it looks like I'm doing like some auto promotion because it's hosted on my website, but haven't done it on my own. I did it with a reader called Camille. We during lockdown we browsed a list of all the shopping alternatives that you can use in Scotland. So it's not only Glasgow, it's about the whole of the country. And it can be a really useful link, I think, to find places all over Scotland to buy organic or local vegetables and go to supermarkets that do plastic free. And as Cédric is also flagging it, this green alternative is often more expensive, and it is a real problem. It is a real problem. It takes more work to look for cheap alternatives. Personally, for me, I've been like looking at a little bit into that. There's not so many markets in Edinburgh. I suppose it's the same in Glasgow, but turns out that veggies and everything, as long as you buy seasonal, are like on a similar price range for vegetables. For the rest, of course, it's more complicated. But it is, I think this is the main challenge. Keep it open to everybody and allow people with a lower wage to also enjoy good food that is made locally and that is just full of quality, really.
Just one reference for the food. I found, so there are some in Glasgow who deliver fruit and veggie box, and also from London and so on, but they just didn't deliver my postcode. And I found MacLeod's organic. So it's plastic free. And when there is a plastic package for salad, for example, it's a compostable one. So I would also recommend maybe them. And there are some others, but there are some options. Just maybe
Locavor in Glasgow is really great, and they do like box delivery, and same as like seasonal like veg. So I didn't find it more expensive than other. Like I find it like cheaper actually than most organic shops. And yeah, they have like free shops in Glasgow as well, when you can bring your container and refill of dry food and that thing. So it's really good.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing so many great little links and ideas. And I see that in the public as well. Cédric is saying Locavor is great. The Good Choice as well. Neighborhood in Shawlands has refillable options. So there are possibilities around you. Feel free to keep putting your questions in the chat. If there are some people asking questions on Facebook, I'm sure Agnes or Stephen will maybe like share the questions with us as well. And on this note, I would invite you to maybe swap to the third theme of this evening and the last one, which would be travel and moving around, because this is also something that we do a lot. And transport, I think, is responsible of 25% of the greenhouse emission gas, not only in Scotland, all over Europe, of course. So again, in Scotland, how do we manage this question? You probably heard that from January 2022, people under 26 are going to have like free travel in Scotland, which is really great. And I hope there'll be more initiatives like this. There was also a question on this theme about how the hospitality and tourism sector can do something about it. And this is a question I ask myself all the time as I work in tourism. Is it okay for people to travel so much in sometimes quite a short amount of time? And how can we encourage them to, do things differently? So, Julie, what would be your advice or your views on travel for individuals or for companies, actually?
So for individuals, I think the lockdown has been really good, and for companies too, and they try to kind of assess their carbon emissions because, well, people have been staying at home. So it's really reduced the impact of transport in general. But if we will just get out of this specific context and talk about this in general, I have to say, shocked by the price of public transport in France, in UK when I arrived in Scotland, compared to Paris and other cities in France. So I remember I was complaining about Paris, which was like 800 euro per year to have access to the whole like train, subway, bus, and so on, tram in the city. And then I moved to Glasgow, so just like between Glasgow and Edinburgh, and to go to Glasgow every day for the commute, it was £3,000 per year. I was like, okay, so Paris was cheap. And this is when you actually realize that I had a choice. It was cheaper for me to get a car and to go by car every day, and to even maybe shorter because you have to walk to the train station, to wait for the train, take the train, and then walk, when I could just like take my car from my driveway and go to the office and so on. And actually, I decided to have like my activism act and just like decide, okay, no, because I can afford to spend more money in the transport and public transport than in my car. And I decided to don't get a car and to use the public transport, and I can do it, so I'm happy to do it. But this is not what everybody can afford. As we said, like sustainability can be a bit expensive sometimes, which is not normal, and hopefully it's going to get better in the future. But it's really to kind of have this, and I really hope that the public transport in Scotland and the government is going to understand that if they want to reduce their carbon emission, they're going to have to decarbonize the transport, to get buses that are run by biogas and electricity, and not by fuel and fuel. Sorry, I'm for a second. And to kind of push this way of like people stop using the car and use public transport. And I'm sure that's the most reason for people to use the car to go to the office is because it's less expensive than the train. So it would be just to reduce the price, and would be a big impact on the carbon emission in Scotland. And then for traveling in general, we are expats. Obviously, we have to go back to France, and so we have to take the plane, which is the least sustainable option for traveling. We have to do it. That's it. We have to accept that we cannot be perfect. We also want to travel, and it's fine. There are some options, like what you can do. You can offset your carbon emissions. So you can find a calculator. There are plenty online to kind of calculate what is your travels going to emit, and you can just pay a bit amount of money or plant a tree, or you can all those initiatives. Also, what you can do, so this is for the travel, you can choose to go by train instead of go by plane when it's possible. You can, if you rent a car, you can rent an electric car if it's possible. Again, in Scotland, it can be a bit tricky to find like EV chargers, but in some other countries, you can choose to go by bike. When you're on site, you can just use a bike. You can walk. There are like a lot of carbon-free options. And you also have the power to choose where you go. So if you choose a restaurant, if you choose a hotel, you can look at labels. There are some green labels. There are some regenerative labels that are even better than circular economy. principles. We just try to include the community and the indigenous community sometimes when you go like far abroad. And it's like to kind of have this think about, like, take every decision that you take, that have this decision consciously. So not choose any kind of hotel, for example, but choose a hotel which maybe, because if they do something about sustainability, they're going to put it on the website. So just look at the website. If it's not like right away, like we use 100% renewable energy, sometimes you can look at the bottom of the website. It's going to be like sustainability, and they're going to have a full page of how they reuse water, how they reuse food waste, and so on. And you also have a platform which is called Airbnb. So the Airbnb, but for which, like, it's a new Airbnb, which is puts back the community in the center of the platform and the rental of places. So I think it started in Italy. And before the COVID, they were supposed to open the platform to Edinburgh. So I don't know if it happens or not, but it's just the principle of wherever you go through this platform, a share of the money that you're going to pay is going to come back to the local community. So that's why we call this like regenerative, because you're going to put something positive within the community and help it grow. And then you can choose also the activities that you do. You can choose to go on a 4x4 trip to visit like an area, or you can choose to take your bike, you can choose to go for a walk. You can also choose to learn about the community where you go. So if you go in an island, maybe you can find some activities related to the culture of the island around Scotland. And there's a lot of things. I did the work for regenerative tourism in Scotland. So I've learned a lot about a lot of activities that exist that are just really about like learning past skills and what people, how they used to do in Scotland, and even like some that kind of activities that have a positive impact, because you're not going to deplete the environment, plus you're going to learn and support the local community.
Very true. Thank you, Julie, for such a rich presentation. You're right, you covered every subject. You guys might want to know that there is the Green Tourism Award that is given like different levels, I would say, between bronze, silver and gold probably, and you can see if the place you want to stay with or maybe the activity you want to do has or not this label. It's not the only option, of course. It can be interesting too. And Mary, I was also interested about your own experience. Do you feel like it's easy to travel across Scotland without using too much, without polluting too much?
Yeah, I found it easy like to travel around Glasgow by train. I think it's quite cheap in Glasgow, which is incredible, especially when like a lot of students have to leave like South Side because there's no many accommodation available in the West End. So a lot of students need to travel a lot. So we've been trying to encourage students to use bikes but I feel like in the West End city center is very difficult to cycle with the cars. But the South Side has actually been developing a lot of cycle lanes, which is great. We also have like a bike repair like in our team. So someone hired by university to repair the bikes for free for the students. Yeah. After like one of the big challenge of university, I think it's to reduce the travel from students who live abroad, which I think it corresponds to like 35-40% of the students, but also the staff, because a lot of staff are like sent away for lectures. So I think the COVID situation really helped that, because being able to do like a lot of online stuff, so it reduced I think for everyone, reduced our cost, energy cost. But yeah.
That's really great to hear. I will come with my bike next time, because my brakes are broken at the moment. If I stop by university, I can ask about this person that is there to fix bikes. It's amazing. What a job. I love the idea.
Yeah.
It's great initiative. And I'm just taking a second, because in the audience, Julie is asking, can we travel to Northern Scotland / Highlands by train and or buses? And I'd like to just take a minute to answer to this, because I've been here 6 years. I don't own a car. Sometimes I rent a car to go to a certain bit that is a bit unreachable, but I've been traveling a lot using public transport, and I can tell you that yes, you can travel pretty much anywhere. I've been from Isle of Barra to the top of Lewis just using the buses, and hitchhikes as well sometimes. But it is totally possible, and what is quite good is that you have a few transport passes, like rail passes, Spirit of Scotland, for example, Highland Rover, and those passes, they allow you to take any bus you want. Spirit of Scotland, it's buses, trains, and ferries. So you can use this pass and go all over Scotland. I think it starts from £149 or something like that. There's different options. People have been sharing in the group, so thank you very much. Yes, you can also take your bike in your train. You just have to be a little bit clever and careful, because it's not like an unlimited space for the bikes, and Scotland is now quite a big destination for cycling. Actually, a lot of people come to travel with their bikes, so you have to be prepared a little bit. And it's really nice to see that, yeah, Julie is also sharing her experience traveling from Switzerland to Edinburgh using buses and trains. So you can do it, you just need a little bit more time. And so yeah, traveling using public transportation is not only feasible and easy, it's also very enjoyable. You are less tired, you speak with the people. I mean, maybe it's just me that speak to, I'll be this old weird person in the trains that just speaks to everybody, but this is what I do. So you meet people, you learn more about their daily life, and you get good info about what to do in the place that you're going or the place where you are. And if, I don't know if the audience is more like in Scotland or abroad, but people will always help you to find a solution if you're stranded or if you didn't understand what was the track you needed to follow. So give it a go. Frankly, this is my advice if you travel to Scotland. Even if it's not your whole trip, give it a go. Try to travel in some side of the country using public transportation. You will be really surprised. All good. I was wondering as well if there is like any more questions, or if Julie, Marie, you have another aspect that you'd like to bring to the conversation. I think that was a really rich conversation, and maybe Agnes will have some more questions for us if she wants to join us. Yes.
Hi, thank you. Merci beaucoup à toutes les trois. Thank you all three. That was very inspiring conversation, very interesting talk, and well, many good tips. And now I just want to travel up North Scotland and and yeah, no, thank you. I don't have a question from my side, but maybe if the public has any more question, it could be, as I said before, it could be in French, in English. Please don't hesitate to feel free to ask. And even after the conversation, if you have any question or any things you want to talk more, just please feel free to send me an email at culture@afglasgow.org.uk. If you have any question for our speakers, for Sarah, Julie, or Marie, please don't hesitate. We will be very happy to help and to answer all your questions. So I think so.
Oh, there is
in the Q&A, Angelique said, where do you recycle lawn bulbs in Scotland?
So from my experience, you go to the supermarket where there is like a little box with a little light bulb on it, and poof, you can just put it in. Honestly, I don't know what happens next, but let's trust that it goes to the right place.
For that kind of question about where to recycle what, you can also find resource. I think it's Recycle Now. I'm Googling at the same time I'm speaking, but there is, I think it's, yes, maybe Recycle Now, or just like kind of Google it, and there is a map, and it explains you what is your material and where to recycle it, and you can have a map and they can send you to the right place.
Same for Zero Waste Scotland. It's also a very good, I'm just copying the link here. And actually, Agnes, I was wondering, what is your experience of trying to live a sustainable life in Scotland? Do you find that it's easy?
be honest, I think it's easier. It's been a while since I lived in France, so but really in Scotland, I think there you can find more and more supermarket or zero waste shop. To be honest, in Glasgow, there are just two next to my home. So really, I think it's quite good. The things that we could improve, but you already talked about it. It was, yes, maybe improve circulation by bikes would be a great idea, I think, and especially after the COVID crisis and everything, I think we will learn a lot of things, and maybe now people don't take don't use a car like before, and well, I hope that things will continue like that and people will use more and more their bikes. So but yes, I think in Scotland there are so many really good practices, and especially and people want really to improve that. So yeah, my point of view is like, yes, I think they're a very good initiative, and hopefully with COP26, new kind of ideas, initiative will appear. So I really hope that. Finger crossed.
Yeah, of course. I moan a lot about recycling in Scotland, but I have to say it is still like something that can be done, and you just have like to get your head around it, basically, and you can find happiness in recycling in Scotland, I swear. Also, Cédric is asking if there is any event in French linked to COP26. So I don't have any on top of my head, but someone knows something?
Yeah, well, we are working on different projects during the COP26. So we are working with the Institut Français d'Édimbourg, and hopefully we will have some talks. I can already say that we will organize a screening, an online screening of a French movie, and there will be a discussion with French speakers.
What movie? What movie?
We hope that it will be Marché sur l'eau, so it's a movie that was presented at Cannes. But yes, more information will be available soon, very soon, I promise. But yes, we hope to organize events, more events in November during the COP26.
Great, this is really nice. I will look for that information whenever it's out. You guys are amazing. You're sharing so many recommendations on the chat. Well done. So Caroline is telling us that TerraCycle also provides facilities for soft recycling. Yeah, that's really good. Cat protection shelter in Glasgow. They are there a lot. And about events, not in French, but it's like the Green Big Week starting today, right? I don't remember I think it had a different name in Scotland. Like Green Big Week was for the UK, Scotland had like a different, I don't remember, but I've been like looking at events as well. And I heard as well that there might be, but really I'm just like asking more than saying, is there not like a new mural supposed to come to Glasgow linked to environment, nature? Maybe I'm just telling tales as always.
Yeah, no, I think yeah, there's like La Grande Fresque. I think there is some association working that they will come next week in Glasgow, I think. So okay. Hopefully we'll have more information about it. But yes, I saw that news. Okay, so any more questions? Thank you very much for all the recommendations. That's great. Yeah. Yes.
Can I just share one more thing that I think is amazing in Glasgow that I discovered during lockdown? There is a charity called the Glasgow Seed Library. You can go on their website. You can, and yeah, Mary, I see that you know them. You can look at all the plants that they have. You can request seeds for something that you want to grow. They will send it to you for free. All you have to do is actually grow it, get the seeds from whatever plants you decided to grow, and give them back, because it's a library, so you have to give back the seeds at the end. So I tried it this year, and I did tomatoes. My tomatoes are currently this big and they're green, but stay tuned for Christmas we might have some seeds to give back to the library. I just think that it's such a nice initiative to, as Mary was saying earlier, to maintain this habit of like just growing your own food and trying to connect as much as you can to your food, which is something that sometimes I can feel lacking here. So guys, if you don't know what to do for next spring, get yourself some seeds and have your own little tati plantation on your balcony if you have one.
I think it's something that I see a lot around circular economy, is that there is a lot of things happening at a very small scale. Like neighborhood, you can have like a library in your neighborhood. You just like pop some book that you've done reading and someone is just like a box and someone is going to take it. Or there are like a lot of like small businesses or even like individual like who would just like have a new idea. You can have like tools library and all of that kind of things. So it exists in bigger city. I mentioned Olio in the chat, which is a place. So I was thinking about like students and the struggle to get some food sometimes, and also work with like a food waste. So you can find food for free and sometimes also products for free, like goods for free in your neighborhood. So it's kind of the Facebook market, but more local. But at the global scale, but you can choose like a very small scale. So you can just like pop to your neighbor in front door and just get whatever they have that they don't need. They bought like too much bread or whatever and just can get some. So that's a lot of things like this. So actually, there's a lot of things happening, but it requires some research. So you really need to dig into the internet and look what's going on and try to Google everything that you can and to finally find something in your neighborhood. And if something doesn't exist that you're looking for, well, why not create it? Like to have like a tool library in your neighborhood to kind of share like a screwdriver because you need to screw something, or to have like a hammer or something. It's just like, in this case, just try to build like a small library and for books and for tools and for whatever, and try also to gather some food that someone doesn't want anymore and can share with like another, and with businesses too, as students, try to work with restaurants and get the leftovers for the end of the day and share it with other students and have this kind of food banks. So there's a lot happening, but everything is at a very small scale. So it's really to find it. It's the most difficult thing.
Amen to that.
And maybe if I can say one thing for the audience, I have a challenge, is that to try to do one thing that takes you in the path of circular economy. So try to, I don't know, like switch your soap, like your bottle of shower gel for a soap bar, or maybe switch for like a reusable toothbrush or reusable razor, or maybe change anything in your life that takes you towards like zero waste, and just one thing. And when you're comfortable with this thing, go to the next one, and so on. And that's how you start. Just like start with just one thing that seems maybe a bit challenging, but that one thing is enough, and there is no small action, and one thing can start, and just talk about all of this around you, and together we can do it.
Yeah, exactly. Step by step, but small actions. And I think you're right. Start with one and then go to the next one. But yeah, I think yeah, more there are more and more people interested in small action, and then so yeah. But yeah, that's but all the recommendation and all the new ideas, I thought, it gave me a lot of ideas. So that's great. Okay. Any more question, I think, or? Well, I think for myself, that's okay. So Sarah, Julie, Marie, thank you so much for your participation tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you all the public for all your suggestions, recommendations, ideas. Thank you again. As I said before, any question, please don't hesitate to get back to us. We'll be very happy to answer you. And please don't forget to fill Glasgow Doors Open Day survey and try to win a voucher of £100. But please, yes, connect to Glasgow Doors Open Days and go on the survey page and please fill it. Okay. Well, thank you again, all of you. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy this talk. Thank you again for your ideas, and can't wait to have more this kind of events where we can share, we can exchange, and hopefully new events will come in November on the occasion of the COP26 and after, not only during the COP26, but after as well. This is the most important thing.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Merci encore à toutes les trois et merci à tout le monde dans le public. Thank you so much. Bye, au revoir, bye.